Boom, boom, boom. Stay locked, because we're the bomb.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the boombar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name, Ola Dolupo. And you know that person that is looking very jealous at this point. His name is Sola Rogers, but you know what? We'll take him like that. There's really nothing we can do about him at the moment, so we'll take him like that. But bid you a warm welcome to the bar this very interesting afternoon. It is Thursday. The week is about to end. Whoop, 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 whoop. Anyway, if you're joining us for the very first time, this is the Boombar, and it is where we give you everything entertainment, sports, politics, governance, coup updates, war updates, everything updates, and everything else in between. And you know, wherever the news carries us, we go. We definitely go. So sit back, relax, have a drink, you know, have whatever it is you're having, and then we will just sit down and gist with you as the time goes on till the end of the hour.
At the end of the hour, this one said, okay, let's see. Anyhow, jealousy, I don't know what that one is talking about. And you ain't got nothing for me to be jealous of. But, you know, there's something you do have. You have the lead on the show, so yeah, I got that. So it is an interesting time to be alive. We are basically bringing you daily updates from Niger and what's going on there. Some kind of positive picture, emerged videos emerged last night, and it forms the basis of today's program, amongst other things, because it's a glimmer of hope, actually, that maybe, just maybe, there would not
something
be,
might just happen,
you know,
yeah?
a military intervention.
I totally agree. So yeah, there are a lot of cool updates. What he was talking about is a picture or pictures where we saw the former emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the former CBN governor, in a meeting with the military junta leader in Niger Republic. This is someone that the whole of ECOWAS, AU, UN, the US have been trying to get through to, and they haven't been able to get through to him. So it seems to be a good thing. Also, there's news that I think that that's the former emir of Kano, is said to be back in Nigeria and is said to brief the president on his meeting with the military junta leader. That, like you said, it's a glimmer of hope. It's something that different people and different groups have been trying to get to do for well over, like, maybe over a week, and nobody has been able to get through. And finally, somebody somewhere, maybe there's a voice of reasoning that would actually finally let this person hear something. So maybe just maybe. And on that note, still talking about that, there is ongoing meeting, the extraordinary meeting of ECOWAS in Abuja. As we speak, we know that it is basically about the military junta in Niger Republic. There's been a lot of talks. There's also a lot of accusations yesterday from Niger to France, talking about how France is breaching a lot of the rules, that France found a way to release jihadists who have been arrested and kept, you know, that France has found a way to release those people, and those people are planning some form of attack on the Niger military. Also, now France also had come out to say that they don't know anything about it. There's also accusations of them flying over Niger.
Mm-hmm.
France aircraft flying over Niger and all that. You know, there's a lot of accusations back and forth. France has come out to say that they did not, but we would see. I'm not some of these things anyway, let's just move on from that. Still talking about it. Now going to Niger itself, in between all this, I think you had talked about it yesterday, and you talked about how they don't seem to want to be going anywhere anytime soon.
No, they're not.
It's looking more like it per day, as now they have announced today of a list of 21 people that is supposed to form their new government.
Yeah, so the world, on the one hand, is divided. Of course, you have the people on the fence who are not saying nothing at all, but you have a lot of people who are, on one side, feel that Niger and the military junta are on the right path. Like, what they are doing is the right thing. They're on the right path. Now, there are people who feel, no, a democratically elected president, has been deposed, and for this reason, you must revert and respect the constitution and go back, to what it used to be 2 weeks ago. We are at a point where a lot of rhetoric is being thrown about everything, but I have said it over and over again. I believe that we shouldn't go to war. Let not be war at all. Some people say let it be the last resort, but I'm hoping that somewhere along the line.
But the truth is that if we really look at it, as much as it should be the last resort, everybody's talking about it, at some point there has to be some dialogue if there is not going to be some form of, except they're just going to be left alone to their devices and everybody's just going to go on like they don't exist.
Yeah.
Literally behave like they do not exist.
Everything is A-OK.
No, not that everything is okay. More like just abandon them and leave them and block your borders to them and literally behave like they do not exist. Other than that, if there is not going to be a war, there has to be some form of communication. And if the people who seem to have the upper hand, and that's the truth of the matter, you cannot say that there's ECOWAS, AU, UN on one side, and there's just maybe you and 2 or 3 other countries who, in the grand scheme of things, really are not. What level are you when we really think about it? Do you understand? If all these people are actually trying to have a conversation with you, and you're not, then can you, at this point, can you really, really, really blame them if they actually now decide to go to war with these people?
So, I'm not going to play the blame game yet. And I get everything that you've said, because we must put everything in perspective. This is the reason why a lot of things is holding me back as a person is I've looked at the interconnectivity between Niger and Nigeria. Excuse me, please. We share a common border that is so massive, expansive. We even share similarities in name derived from the river Niger. So there's the Niger, because they are French, predominantly a French-speaking country, and Nigeria, all, coined from the river Niger. There's a lot of things that binds us together. And I am looking at that predominantly. My logic might not be as straightforward as it should be, but I'm worried about the impact of a military action and what it would have on the regular guys, the common man, when and if they decide to go that route. So for me, that's why I am still holding back. Now, when I said everything will look A-OK, is like, yes, at times you just look away, because you need to ask over and over again. This is arguably the fourth military coup in West Africa, in a group or a bloc that has about 15 or so countries.
Yeah.
So 4 countries have had coups. And the response I get is, the other 3, it was under a different leadership. Okay, so what's the difference with this one? democracy, I keep saying the worst form of democracy is better than the best form of military rule. And time has proven it over and over and over again. Because that's why the first thing the military guys do is to suspend the constitution as soon as they come into power. They just kick everything to the curb. And they start to form their own laws and do all the things. And they're populist. And hardly history has shown us that most populist countries eventually fail.
They don't work out.
The populist policy is just, the people don't like it. The people don't like it. The people like it. The people like it. Do you see?
It's just for the immediate.
There's no focus.
Then,
There's no long-term planning. It's just vibes and inshallah.
And the truth of the matter is that these people really and truly, as much as yes, you don't like a lot of what politicians do. That's why we have systems in place where politicians and government supposed to bring in people like technocrats and all that to also help. But when you are just soldiers, how much? And I'm not saying that soldiers are not learned. They're one of the most learned institutions, whether you like it or not. But there's a lot more when it comes to governance than just the little that you learn.
Yeah, in understanding the structure of the military, especially in Africa and in the world, we know that it's a body made up of professionals. You know, there are doctors, there are lawyers, there are engineers, scientists, everybody, you know, under that banner of the military. Then, of course, they also go for this training courses in management and everything. But there's something that binds them. There's something that empowers them, and it is the gun.
It's the law. They have their law unto themselves.
They can choose to obey the law or not. And that's why we have military coups. And once you have that, again, I repeat, everything is jettisoned it's one person's whims and caprices. If the military Supreme Military Council, we had one like that before. They have look at the kind of names that they give themselves. Supreme Military Council, Supreme.
They're supreme.
The day they just sit down and say, you know what? Nobody should go out from 6 p.m. anymore.
Nobody's going nowhere.
Shebi, you people are still on social media now. You can abuse president after president.
Shut down.
You can do all of these things. But with the military, you cannot. You cannot. It's not going to happen. So the things that we need to understand is what exactly would be the solution, and it is negotiation. But I feel that the guys in Niger, they are onto something, you know. They have a problem with neocolonialism. And there are things that a lot of us are shying away from speaking.
But if they're not careful...
I'm not done. You're going to throw me off track. Sorry, please. There's issues with neocolonialism. How is a country that is independent not allowed to have a central bank that is domiciled in its own country? How is a country that is independent not allowed to fix prices or process natural resources that belongs to it? They supply about 15 to 18% of France's uranium needs. They supply about 20% of Europe's uranium needs. I've done this again.
I thought that it was, when I was reading it, there was a conversation about how they supply about 70% actually.
Yeah.
Of France's uranium needs.
Yeah, we've gotten all sorts of figures. I always go with the most conservative figure because that's the safest thing you can do. And so if it's 70, it makes it worse. If it's 18, it's still bad. So, and look at them. They're just building a dam that they're going to use for irrigation and power generation. The bulk of their power, 70% of the power
is from Nigeria.
Comes from Nigeria.
And you are churning out uranium
and they're selling all of these things. So there is a problem with the previous government.
Oh, yes.
Including the person that they kicked out. But although he just came in, but it's still the same thing.
The truth is that there is a problem.
They are onto something. But the only military that I would respect and I believe really wants to fix things is the one that comes in, sets a timetable for the restoration of democracy. To say, you know what, this is why we're not going to let this person come back, but we're going to trade open again and all of that. And one of those kind of people exist, General Abdusalami Abubakar. And he's gone there to talk to them. 4 different envoys have gone, and they refused to speak to the person until, Khalifa, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, went there went there yesterday with another emir and a couple of people on their entourage. Then they had a one-on-one. You know, again, this shows you how respected SLS, you know, people like to call him SLS, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, the Khalifa. People like to call him SLS. How respected he is, because look, the US sent a top-ranking official. They refused to see her. Now America is talking about the possibility of an intervention. Now, what I believe strongly, and I've said it over and over again, the military angle. You see, the generals and the Niger generals and all, they're probably going to be insulated from this thing. They're going to, you know, send out the troops and all of that.
Yeah.
Eventually, you might get them. Because I don't think they are that strong militarily.
Yeah.
The whole world knows their powers. They don't have it. So there's something that they are depending on. There's something that they are backing on. And every time now when you see a protest, even in Mali, in Senegal, in Guinea, and Burkina Faso, and Niger, you see people carrying the flag of another country. Another foreign country. And it has never made sense, you know, to say, oh, you're running from one abusive relationship into another one.
See, that is where my issue
all of these
from.
Things just points to them not knowing what they're doing.
For me, I'm more of, like you had said now, let's call it spade a spade. There's a lot of issues, especially with Francophone countries, you know. If you compare Francophone countries, I'm not saying that Anglophone African countries are perfect, but to a very large extent, even if they are doing all the nonsense the leaders are doing, they're doing it by themselves. They have control of all the things that they're doing by themselves. It is ridiculous the kind of things that happens in Francophone countries in Africa, and that's the truth. But I still feel that this road that they are going is not the way to go.
It is not.
It is not the way to go. If you want, you don't want France. I personally feel that it is this same ECOWAS, it is this same AU. Is this ECOWAS, more of these Anglophone West African countries, you need to now sit them down. Okay, how did you guys get to where you are? The truth of the matter is that for Nigeria to come up and say they're having sanctions, CBN sanctions on Niger, on Mali, on Burkina Faso, it means that there's a lot of assets of those countries in Nigeria's CBN. And for you to have that, Nigeria's CBN is one of the strongest in Africa. These are the people you need to come back and sit down with. Okay, how did you get? Because the truth of the matter is that these other countries too were colonized. We're not where we are, but we're definitely not remitting money to England. Do you understand?
If they want something, they must come and pay for it.
And then, all that has to stop. We agree. But I still feel that the people that they're so-called fighting, the ECOWAS and the AU, they are the people that you need to be your allies at this point. For Africa to stand as and maybe literally kick out the colonial masters, finally, they need to be integrated into one.
If you watch the picture of yesterday's meeting, you would find that behind the leader of the junta was the ECOWAS flag and the Nigerian flag. You get? And I'm like, okay, you still have the ECOWAS flag. I thought you guys were fighting ECOWAS, you know, or did you forget to remove it? Or are you just basically playing to the gallery? Like, you see, we're not fighting ECOWAS, we still have the flag with us and all of that. But it's also instructive that they realize that they're still a part of this bloc. Then these sanctions, there's something also that popped up that people would like to hear. That this year alone, 3 of the countries that Nigeria supplies power to are owing us over 12 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billion naira, Abi. 12 billion.
And it's just for the first quarter of the...
Yeah, maybe it's the coup that has made us cut somebody off, but at least you're owing.
You are owing money.
You're owing.
See, that's why another issue what I have with Niger is that I'm not sure these people actually thought a lot of these things through. Why do I say so? Is because you cannot be so dependent on other people for aids, electricity, and all that, and then you are forming boss. You can't. You are landlocked. 90% of everything that comes in from your country has to come in from Nigeria because they're the ones that have the ports that can help you move your things. 70% of the electricity that powers your country is from Nigeria. You cannot afford to fight Nigeria. Unfortunately, all these other countries around you are all on Nigeria's side, except the ones that are at war themselves. So what are we dealing with? It's not making any sense.
It was about this time last year, under President Buhari, former president, that Nigeria, there was a lot of controversy because Nigeria was going to buy vehicles for Niger.
Yeah.
We're going to be spending some billions of naira or millions of naira, to support them, which is not the first time that Nigeria is doing this for Niger and other African countries. And all of that doesn't count for anything. Nigeria is also building a train, system into your country.
I'm not sure that's going to happen.
And it's not even it's not even at the border. It's going in.
I'm not sure those things are happening.
The people of Niger would benefit a lot from. I don't know. But, all of those things don't count for nothing to them.
I personally just think they didn't think this thing through. Even if there was going to be a coup, the least you could do was talk to these people. Let them know what the issue is, and then they can find a way forward. But declining their, dialogue all the time, I don't think this matter is going to end well. Anyway, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has now called for the peaceful resolution of conflicts and upholding of democratic principles. We're talking about Nigeria, that war should not be on the table, basically just saying that there should be more dialogue. I get it. Everybody's talking about that. The only thing is that dialogue and communication goes both ways, though.
Yeah, and the people that you want them to dialogue with are already getting embedded into the system. They've appointed a prime minister. Now they have a 21-man cabinet. They also, a few days ago, appointed 8 governors across the state. All of this is a sign of someone who's
not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. We're here to stay.
Anywhere. Exactly.
So they're basically they want to have their cake and eat it. And this is where my fear will be escalated.
But there could also be an angle of ECOWAS and AU just leaving them be, still block your borders, like I said, behave like they do not exist. At some point, the way they're going, they will be hungry.
Yeah.
They will be forced to reach out at some point because whatever it is, you cannot be, you cannot be for me boss where you ain't got nothing. Anyway, let's move on quickly from that, and then let's move on to something else quickly. I don't know where maybe anyway, let's move on from that. House of Reps, the NUC, and the Central Bank and the students' body, the National Association of Nigerian Students are meeting over the proposed student loan scheme, to basically fine-tune it, how to have a conversation about how it will work. Why I personally like this is that I think that we're getting to a point where before we come up with schemes and we come up with policies that actually affect everybody, maybe all the people that are really going to be affected should be involved in the making. This maybe it will reduce the hue and cry by the time this conversation now it becomes a thing.
I think it's one of the best things that you can do in governance when people have a stake and they now have a say. As against when people just sit down and craft some document somewhere and force it down our throats.
Yeah.
Again, it also helps you because it's those stakeholders that are now your own ambassadors. They're also the ones that are going to be able to, because they are more accessible to the people.
Yeah.
They'll be the ones to break it down further.
Message to them, yes.
So one of the biggest undoings of most governments in the past, especially in Nigeria, is the lack of information. the failure of their system to let people know what's going on.
So this even just helps like your information chain directly.
Yes,
before you
does.
even announce it. People that are already in those meetings already know
they can disseminate the information. So that's one. And in also pushing out the information, most governments in the past held back. You send them messages or send your press releases, they don't respond.
They don't, yeah.
Then when they are now in trouble, that's when they start sending out messages and all. But with this approach, people are being carried along. People already have an idea of what to expect. And then the stakeholders, your representatives, like for instance, for students now, members of NANS, who will also be able to give them first-hand, information to say, no,
this
on
is
campus,
how students
this does not work.
Yes,
this is how it works.
agree.
This is what we do. Then that way they can craft the very best. This is an approach that I've seen with the setting up of the tax committee. And I hope that we're going to do more of this so that, Nigerians on the long run will have a say in these policies.
Things that affect
because
us.
Everything that happens at the top trickles down, except, rubber. that one get where they block.
Anyway, talking about what you had just talked about, I was going to talk about something else, but since you had talked about it, SERAP, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, has now decided that they're planning to sue the Senate President over holiday allowances amid economic crisis. I've been seeing a lot of videos. People have had hot takes about what the Senate President did. I think I saw a PDP chieftain talking about how he was asking the president to sack the Senate President, and that he should. I saw another one that someone said the Senate President has to resign. I'm like, that's a more reasonable conversation that we can have, and not that he has had about 2 or 3 goofs and all that. Like, man is probably learning on the job. But anyway, now SERAP is saying that they're probably going to sue the Senate President because of what he had said. And basically, it is because they're saying that during this economic crisis that the country is going through, that this is not the right time for sharing of prayers.
Yeah, the sad part is that it is entrenched in the old workings
exactly
of the assembly.
It is sad, but it is what it is.
The insensitive part is the Senate President announcing it
yes.
at a time where people are feeling the pinch the most. You see, you cannot be telling me to sacrifice when you're not sacrificing. Like, for instance, these guys are they're not paupers. The fact that they are there alone, they are millionaires. Just being in the assembly alone, you're a millionaire. If you're not a millionaire before you came, at least we know how much their campaigns would have cost, each and every one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So again, it's something that the announcement that would have been nice, even if it's playing to the gallery or just making it, is to say, fellow senators, in light of what's happening in and around us, you are all entitled to your recess allowance. Mm-hmm. And I, as Senate President, will be donating my own to X number of people in my constituency.
Yeah.
And I want to beg each and every one, because I do not have power to force you. I want to urge you to do the same for your constituents. So when you go back, because again, let's get something right. Recess does not mean that they are not working.
Oh, yeah, they're just not having plenary.
It means that there's no plenary. There are oversight functions. But if you want to travel, you can travel. You can do whatever.
We've seen a few days ago where some of the senators went to see the East-West Road.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things happening.
But the recess allowance or whatever allowance could have been spent in a different way that would have even endeared them more.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to have gone on recess 2 weeks ago, and they put it aside to do the screening of the ministers. And we're hoping that the president will announce the ministers within the next couple of days.
Speaking of which, we thought that it was going to...
This week.
But
hopefully. I thought it was going to be Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I was expecting that there was going to be Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday. But
yeah. So I think that's an idea that they should have keyed into, that you are asking us to sacrifice, but you're not willing to sacrifice anything. And if you're not sacrificing anything, why should I be sacrificing? Why should I be spending 3 times my income on fuel? And you're not. And you're getting money for recess. Because recess basically means nothing. Like, you won't go rest. Baba. See, all the hot takes, even if I don't agree 100% with them, they are justified. So in this one, SERAP, sue.
Anyway, I'm talking about the condition of the country. Ekiti State has now announced palliatives for its states. I'm still waiting for. All these palliatives, everybody say. I'm not sure there are up to 10 states that have announced it.
No, we have not heard of it.
Last I checked, we have 36.
And Abuja.
I'm waiting for, but no, Abuja people are rich. Abuja people are rich.
Trust me, the poorest of the poor exist in every state.
Oh my God, I know that was just a joke. Anyway,
I know.
Basically, it is now Ekiti State's turn to announce palliatives for its residents. They're talking about a 5,000 naira between now and December for 10,000 households. There's another free medical the health insurance scheme for another 10,000 of his residents again, and they're talking about some leave bonuses and allowances for civil servants, and their free buses and all that, and it's a good thing for the immediate. Let's put it there for the immediate. 2 things I would say, like I said before,
they're palliatives.
They're
not permanent solutions.
I think that hopefully what we're hoping for is that before the time of those things elapse, there would have been a permanent solution from the federal government and the states. Like, I feel that these states should not rest on their oars, because you're giving these people, there should be permanent solutions, so that by the time you withdraw these things, there will be other things. I spoke to someone a few days ago, and the person was basically explaining the BRT buses that take, for example, they were like that. Now, this was in 2 different angles. She was like that in a few days before the minute those things were announced. She said that the regular bus that it take 500 naira from about 7 up to the island, it became 1,000 naira. She said now it has dropped back to like about 500 naira that they're paying. That if you're even going to wait for the BRT, it's 250 naira. Okay.
So that's cheaper.
So that's way cheaper than what
we have a comment on YouTube from Akin Bitoye. It says the bit about the legislature is entrenched in the unwritten Nigerian constitution. You can't speak with your mouth full, though. Whose mouth is full now at this point? No, but I get Akin's message, and of course it's still directed at.
Oh yes, I totally agree.
The senators. Now, sin is what I'm saying. SIN, nators, not SEN.
Okay, you already said. I just heard from someone in my office. The BRT fare has been slashed by 50%. Not bad.
Yeah.
The truth is that people move a lot. If that amount of money, even if it's not going to be cheaper than what it was before, at least people will not have to spend more in that aspect.
Exactly.
Food is already expensive.
Yeah.
Everything else is already expensive. Any little respite right now, I'm sure people will take it.
Yeah, again, that's why I keep, upping and I keep repeating and trying to up the ante that, look, and I'm going to repeat it over and over again. These palliatives in the area of transportation, it is good when they subsidize the cost of transportation or reduce it. But not everybody gets on the government-owned buses in Lagos.
Sadly.
Not everybody uses the cabs. So what they need to do, and I'm happy that they said the regular buses also reduced their prices.
Yeah, that's how they did it. Fantastic.
So, but what they need to do is to help those people too, and it has to do with the conversion to CNG, thereby reducing the cost of fuel.
That way there's a long-term plan instead of even you
not a 6-month palliative.
Yeah, instead of you using taxpayers' money, which we get is taxpayers' money, probably should have been put into something else you're going to be using to keep subsidizing. And if we're not careful, we're back to the era of subsidy. We're just not subsidizing the fuel, but you're using that same money to subsidize something else.
Yeah, but the smart thing that they've done, especially in Lagos, is like in the area of fines and stuff, that's what they were able to cut down on so that it's not like they are using their money to pay to say, okay, go and ride on the bus. You get what they've done is looked at some cost and removed it. You get so monies that they're supposed to pay at their parks and stuff were just reduced, and which is a smart thing. Smart. Now, we must be talking to manufacturers of the CNG conversion kits. We must be assembling that thing in Nigeria by now. En masse. We must be setting up, the dispensing units in most of the filling stations. The way things are going, petrol is dying. And if gas is the future, then we should do more about gas.
Yes.
So, and it has to be en masse. It has to be something that
everybody will feel
private individuals, maybe you do it from group to group, like professional associations. Journalists should go to NUJ and get some kind of rebate where they can get the conversion kits. There's another message from Akin Ibitoye.
Okay, he said is there a short video we can put up on our channel to show the CNG and how practical it is and the cost to benefit ratio on the long run? We definitely will look into that.
We are currently running on LPG in the office. We started the test here on Monday, and we're already saying what it is. But I like that concept of, fixing some kind of video that will help. That will definitely help, and it will be practical. So I hope that we put action to our words.
Yeah, definitely.
There's another message from Akin.
Okay, vehicles, yeah, and it basically just explaining what he was talking about.
Yeah, anything with combustion engine, yes.
Yeah, totally agree. Basically, because those things, we know that if those things transport of food, a lot of things, I'm sure that transport is basically what is making a lot of things like food, prices of food increase.
Yeah.
So those things need to be done. Also, maybe not just transport alone, maybe a lot of agriculture also needs to be more localized. Yes,
because if you grow local, the cost of transportation
is shorter. You can imagine if a lot of things that are coming from maybe Kano, Katsina to Lagos is maybe grown in Ogun State or in Lagos State or in Osun State. And it's a shorter distance.
It's the boombar right here on your boom radio, and we're preferring solutions. These are practical solutions. Now, in talking about agriculture being localized and, production being homegrown, one of the things that we must consider also is storage. Storage has always been a major problem.
Issue.
Do you know how much farmers have to throw away because they can't store them and they can't sell them in the immediate? So these are things that government needs to ramp up, the process of putting these things in the agricultural value chain. That way, in 12 to 16 to 18 months, Nigeria will witness a major turnaround.
A major turnaround. I agree. I definitely agree with you. Hopefully, a lot of all these committees and all these things that they're working on, we hope that it's actually...
And that's why you must get the stakeholders involved. People who are actually
involved in it. They know how it works and how it is supposed to work. That's basically the best thing. Let's move on from all that quickly. And let's say, just wanted to talk about, like, the High Court has now set August 15th to hear the suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele and federal government's applications on his illegal arms possession case. So that we would, that is probably in about 5 days' time. So we'll know if he's still waiting on bail. I also know that the government had also appealed the bail. The court that had granted him bail, they had also appealed to that. Sorry, Akin has a message and says, on the grow local bit, did you hear about the augmentin antibiotic drug that's used to sell for 2,008 back in 2019, selling for 25K now? Because GSK has upped and left, we have, sorry, I can't see what, we have to import it. Okay, I know that the issue with the GSK, I know that what happened to them, according to a statement from them, is that they are sold most of their stuff. I do not think it's about importation, because there's still a value chain in Nigeria from GSK. Now, Nigeria is not the only country they've upped and left. It happened to them in India. It happened in Kenya. And basically what they're saying is that there was an increase in local production of a lot of things.
And they
there are other
couldn't
options,
compete.
and they can't compete.
Yeah.
They're saying in 1 year that their profits dropped by 50%, and it's not because they can't produce. It is because what they're producing is not selling like before, because there are other options. So I think that one, of course, if they're not producing locally anymore, it's going to be a little more expensive. But at the same time, maybe there are actually other options.
There's someone who is actually very vast in the area of pharmaceuticals and drugs and all of that in this cabinet, Dr. Pate.
Yeah.
And, along the experience that the man has, he worked in this, what's the injections that we were going for?
The vaccines.
The vaccines. He knows a lot about us. And I'm saying to myself, instead of a Ministry of Health, why don't we also have a Ministry of Pharmaceuticals? That actually is focused on developing homegrown pharmaceuticals, that's going to empower that industry. So you have like a Ministry of Pharmaceuticals that focuses solely on not drugs now, medicine, and that would be like do you get? Because we're going to have 48 ministers anyway. So why not break the Ministry of Health into two?
Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Also, I can't tell. I just meant that the USD affects all more than you don't have enough, when you don't have enough USD to cover it. Yes, really and truly, as much as, yes, the USD affects it, I would also go back to always say that USD is not our problem. If we produce enough to be able to have locally, we do not have any business with. If I know I can get my shoes, my clothes, hair, everything that I need, it is produced locally and it is good quality, I don't have any business with going to look for how to buy stuff abroad with what's it called, with the dollar. Take for example, remember a few weeks ago we're talking about how to pay for stuff online, and then realize that Google now starts you can pay with your Naira card because they've localized it. Payment. So I don't have any business with looking, if I want to pay for my Google subscription, I don't need to buy dollar for me to do that. So that's where I am coming from. I probably don't feel that we have any business with the USD. We have a problem with our own local production. Yeah.
Akin says the Ministry of Pharma is already under the Center for Disease and Control, or at least should be. There's no Ministry of Pharma. Maybe you mean a department.
I think that when it comes to pharmaceuticals, I think it's not under NCDC, it's more under NAFDAC.
Yeah. But what I'm even talking about, is beyond that. I'm saying that a standalone ministry that's solely dedicated
proper ministry.
Yeah. The minister is not an undersecretary, he's not reporting to any, he's actually geared towards creating, so they're going to work with the private sector. So you bring all the stakeholders together, then that's where you have like a NAFDAC attached now to that ministry, as a department where, they're able to streamline the production of these drugs and make sure that they meet, international standards. What happens, and one of the things that we must, encourage is competition, because with competition and, best practices being put in place, then we are able to do what? Have enough, and that's going to drive the prices down. The GSM is one of the best examples that we should remember. How we were buying SIM cards for as high as 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 90,000 naira. Now, because some people would buy and hoard and add money to it. But now it's next to nothing because there's a lot of competition and it's readily available. So these are the things that are also possible in a fully deregulated economy.
I totally agree. I watch a lot of Korean drama, and I'm yet to see a GM or Ford or Porsche vehicle in any of them. They buy local. Yeah. That's it. That's it for me.
Please provide a way for us to call into the show. We have to start.
We definitely need to go back to it.
We need to get back to that.
We definitely will sort that as quickly as possible. Now, talking about things and illnesses and all that. Now, a new fast-spreading COVID strain has been designated a variant of interest by the World Health Organization. It's the BA.5 is descended from the Omicron variant of coronavirus. And it's
go.
saying that is growing rapidly in the UK, in the US, and China.
Oh my God. We can't do this again.
It has been detected in 51 countries in total.
Hey, we cannot do this again. No, we can't go back. No, we can't
in
go
the
back
week
to
beginning 19th June, 1 in 13 cases were down with the COVID variant.
Please.
See, I know it to sound naive or like somebody that does not have common sense, but please bear with me. You people should keep it where it is. Just please, I can't deal. There's already so much. In Nigeria at the moment, a lot of people are just not talking about it. There's the issue of anthrax, there's the issue of diphtheria. All these things that everybody is still grappling with and being tried to
There's the issue of fuel. You don't understand. You people don't get it. See, all this diphtheria and anthrax, they're bad though. They're deadly. But you see, there's the issue of high cost of living, which is mainly because the dollar is floating and is hanging the petrol up. You understand? Gas that everybody was saying is 6,000. We bought it 8,000 naira for 12.5 kg this morning.
I think that it is
8,000.
It's going up because of.
It's because of dollar floating. Dollar is floating like this, floating. Very flotatious currency.
No, the dollar is not floating. It's the naira that is floating.
You can't watch and float. One of them is floating, and that floating is affecting the cost of everything. So all this disease coupled with
please day your day at this point.
Please,
day your day.
Ejo. We are begging. Thank
you very much.
See, let me punish myself. I've closed my eyes and raised my hand up. Please don't come. Strain kidney in COVID. We don't want to. Let me go back to my mask now.
Anyway, let's move on quickly. As a court. Remember the conversation of the pastor that the presiding pastor of House on the Rock in Abuja, Uche Aigbe, that brought in a gun that was said to be from his security or something funny like that, some drama. Now, a chief magistrate court in Abuja has now said that there is officially a criminal case that he has to answer for the unlawful possession of prohibited firearms found in his possession.
In
What?
It is finished. No baton. Is it not a biblical?
What
is it what when they write in re?
What is in re? Nobody. Whoever even came up with that thing?
Am I the one that came up with it?
Did you ever read it in the Bible that was in re?
You did see it in Jesus' picture.
Which Jesus picture? Have you seen Jesus
on his
before?
Instagram post?
Have you seen Jesus before?
You have not seen him in all these movies that we are watching.
I have not seen Jesus before. It's actors that we see.
Okay, those people that have Jesus biabia and Jesus long hair.
Have you seen
Jesus eyes?
Have you seen Jesus before? That
you don't
know
see
that
where they write it is finished.
Do you know that Jesus?
This person is your friend. That's why you are changing the topic.
Do you know that Jesus has blue eyes?
Oyinbo film. Oyinbo tell us Jesus is Oyinbo.
Jesus is not Oyinbo.
I didn't say that. I just said that they shall show us Oyinbo Jesus, and he have Inri.
It's not my own Jesus.
He said it is finished. So
what's Inri?
A wise man once said, "Otilo is gone. Not it's gone. It's gone."
The court dismissed his no case submission.
The gun is GUN. Is gone.
Ruling that the objection to trial lacked merit and substance.
Look,
there are three of them. This is him. A promise. The prosecution alleged that Uche Aigbe promised Ukachukwu and Olakule Ogunleye conspired to illegally and unlawfully possess an AK-47 rifle.
I say it's gone. I say Henry. Okay, but let's talk about it for a few minutes or seconds. I think he went too far. He might have meant well. He wanted to pass a message, but I think he went too far. He could have gotten a guy to craft one Nollywood gun for him.
Now, which
Nollywood guns
get them from Nollywood people. Now that they are even adding, the court is saying that he made inciting and intimidating statements to the church congregation that could have caused alarm and breach of peace.
He's gone. I said you now, Henry.
And that the prosecution has presented sufficient evidence to warrant the pastor standing trial. Now, they are now being charged with criminal conspiracy, illegal possession of prohibited firearms, inciting disturbance, and criminal intimidation.
Everything criminal. Something criminal. Be mental. 3 criminal offense in the charges.
See, you people.
It's gone.
Don't. Let me just be quiet. At this point, everybody should just do their day. Like, respect yourself at this point.
Say after me. Law. It's gone.
You are just being petty at this point.
Gone. It's gone.
Oh my God. Anyway, let's move on from that and let's go to sports. Anyway, please be careful out there. These things are actually, there are laws against these things. People need to be careful.
The truth has just been spoken. There are laws. Even if they are archaic, there are actually laws against almost everything.
People just need to be careful. Quickly, moving to sports. Super Falcons have arrived in Nigeria after the World Cup exit. Their pictures where they have released. Also, there's talks about how they're supposed to meet the First Lady of the Federation. But it's very interesting that, they're coming. They're definitely going to have a hero's welcome. I think that they're doing fantastically well. Still talking about the Women's World Cup. England forward, who got a red card when she was playing against Nigeria after she had stepped on Michelle Alozie, has now been hit with a 2-match ban.
Really?
Just 2.
Mm-hmm. Although she said she's sorry, but look.
The red card, after what it was, the red card was supposed to automatically suspend her from 1 game, but because
was premeditated attempted murder.
Looks like,
because that stamp could have caused a hemorrhage of the intervertebrae and the interlocutory.
So anyway, what that means is that she's missing the next game, and if they win, if they get into the semifinals, she's also going to.
Even if they lose, she's still going to miss another game.
But if they lose, if they play another English game, she's going to miss another game. They're going to have to miss 2 games now instead of
control your steppings. When they say hot stepper, it's not to step on somebody's future. If that girl was not a medical somebody, now we don't know what happened to her, because she was very fortified. She was there, and the poor girl was doing like, "Hey, Emma Bamike." Did you not see the reaction?
What's happening here?
Is it a crime to dribble you? I just dribble you. I did not end your career.
I did not end your career. Why do you want to kill me? Anyway, let's move on from that. A little bit of transfer news before we leave. Tottenham have now accepted Bayern Munich's £86 million offer. No, it's €1 offer. Sorry, pounds actually.
Pounds is over 100 million.
Yes, 800
euros.
Yeah, it's 886 million euro offer for Harry Kane.
86 million pounds, over 100 million.
Sorry.
Over 100 million euros.
Sorry, I'm mixing it up. 86 million pounds, yes, for Harry Kane. I think I personally am happy for him. Number one, we were seeing the likes of Sadio Mane leave Bayern Munich. They definitely need another person to actually fill in some space. Harry Kane has stayed too long in Tottenham.
Mane is a midfielder, Kane is a striker, so don't even bring those two together. But the issue there is that he has not been winning trophies. His country is finding it hard to win trophy. He's now playing for Tottenham.
Alice.
Those ones who they find it hard to win trophy.
You're a wicked human being.
But you see, even if my mother, my mom, or me, or even this Dolupo with plenty hair joins Bayern, they will win trophy.
He bad as he bad.
You will win.
They will win their local.
At some point, they will create another league and say, this is the Bayern München league, then this is the Bundesliga.
You are a wicked human being.
So anybody that goes there is going to finally.
He might touch a trophy.
Harry,
I
heard you are still thinking.
Life.
If I was you, I would pack my bag.
I personally think he has stayed too long there. He's become too comfortable then
have now become principality and power.
Yeah, he needs a challenge. I think that he definitely needs
you better move.
a challenge. Another person that does not look like is going to go anywhere is Victor Osimhen, as it is said that the Napoli president has now denied another offer for him to be sold. I really, really was hoping he was going to be. Even if it's just for his career, he needs to leave this. I think that it is, how do I explain it now? It's more of a career path. Like, he needs to, do more for himself. Personally, that's what I feel.
At times when the clubs hold you back, it's a good thing, because you might get another shot at showing people that you're really, really worth it, and which will increase your market value. Because right now, if Harry Kane at 30 can fetch over 100 million euros, Osimhen at 23, 24, 25, I can't remember his age, is getting double that as his valuation.
200 million euros.
So maybe just if he stays and has a good season, he will be able to get more for it, and still create some kind of folklore amongst the Napoli fans. The last time they had someone like Osimhen was Maradona. So
definitely we'll see that Chelsea having Reece James as the new captain.
Yes, and his captaincy cannot save his sister from the 2-match ban.
Oh, it's his sister.
Lauren, what?
Oh, yeah, but I didn't.
Sister, same mother, same father.
Oh, wow.
Same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's cool. It's not so cool anymore. Bele.
No, I didn't add it up. I didn't know
Don't be stepping on people's
bodies.
Yes. Lower body, upper. Don't step on anybody.
Don't be stepping on anybody. Anyway, we know that Lagos had talked about having state-of-the-art facilities, talking about their bid for Nigeria's bid for
AFCON 2025.
More like Lagos bid,
it's actually more like Nigeria's bid, because the inspection team has already been to Abuja. They're doing Uyo, and those two stadiums are fantastic.
Yeah,
they're better than the Lagos stadium. That's the truth. They're bigger and better. Now, the Lagos stadium looks very nice, and that stadium has been in use for about 2-3 years now, but it's not complete. There's work to be done. Go behind the stands, you will see it. So Lagos State, this is beyond making mouth.
Yeah, they need
go and finish the Mobolaji Johnson Arena and bring it up to speed. Let it be, what it should be, that you've spent money on. Finish this job. That stadium is a really nice stadium. Really, really nice. The only issue there's no parking. You don't have enough parking for cars, so it will be like VIP parking alone, but you can park under the bridge and on the street and all of that in and around the stadium. But no, your stadium is not what you say it is. I make bold.
It's still not there yet.
You're my people, but that does not mean we shouldn't speak the truth.
Okay, so now moving from that, finally, before we go, sadly, there is a state of emergency that has now been announced in Ecuador, as a presidential candidate has been shot dead after a rally. This is just 2 weeks to the elections.
Now, in an election that is alleged to be going his way, it's said that he was doing very well, and he had gone, on about certain reforms that he was going to bring. He also had called out government for their links to organized crime. Then sadly, just in front of everybody, in broad daylight, they decided to snuff the light out of this person, and it's so, so sad. Again, you start to wonder, if it's really that deep. But, organized crime, that's why they call it organized.
Why it's organized. And on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on the Boombar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you for the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Peace.